What is up, y'all? This is Devin. That is Biker Mike from Mars. We are your blue-collar philosophers. And if you didn't know, this is the podcast.
This is the podcast.
Where we podcast from.
We do so much podcasting.
Exactly. And if you want to know what this is about, if you want to share what this is about with people who've never heard the podcast, refer them to this first 30 seconds of this podcast, and they'll know exactly what we do.
Yes, they will have a firm grasp on everything that is this podcast.
Exactly. It's a podcast.
Yes.
Where we podcast from.
Welcome home.
It's good to be back. I do not like being away for 2 weeks.
Oh, I couldn't imagine.
From the act of being here and podcasting.
Yeah, it's you don't notice it until you're not doing it, and then you're like, shit, I miss doing this. Mm-hmm. Getting and hanging out and just watching somebody else drink whiskey and just all those things.
All those things. I'm living vicariously through you now.
You know, when you put enough of this in a glass, you it gets a little torquier.
Yes. I'm sipping off a very, very nice aged blend of hydrogen and oxygen.
Yes.
It's smooth.
It's a what do they call it? A house blend or no? Oh, there's a word. House wine.
It's pre-transfigured wine.
Yes. You ever see that one where it's got Jesus? He goes into the restaurant, and it says, "Yeah, it's a table for 13 and 13 waters." Wink.
Wink. I'll have a virgin vodka, please.
Vodka on the rocks. Hold the vodka.
Yes.
Asking for ice. Of course I am.
Absolutely.
Okay, here's something that happened when I had my kid. We had him in the new hospital. Yeah. And they have an ice machine there. I swear I went out of my way to have kids so that I could have their ice. It was so good. I'm like, honey,
why is their ice better?
Because it's from, I don't know, just some kind of machine. It's got the right amount of oxygen in it. You can sit there and just crunch on it, and it just never ends. It's like a bottomless pit of ice. I went out there and just went by the cup. I just get a giant cup of ice, and I kept doing it. And I know she was like, "Honey, I'm having the baby." I'm like, "Yeah, one minute."
Easy. I'm still halfway through my glass of crushed water.
Yeah. Turn my headphones up. So yeah, no, I do feel like I went out of my way to have kids so that I could have ice there. It was great. All right, we're gonna start by talking about your trip.
Yes,
because we've been avoiding talking about it. You've been back for a couple days now, and we got to hang out twice, and we haven't talked about it because we're saving it for y'all.
For y'all, exactly. We don't know. We no longer do Mike and I get a friendship.
No,
we have to put our friendship on hold.
We'll talk
for content's sake.
We talk about really racist stuff off the podcast, though. You wouldn't believe how much he hates
the ghost in the sheet comment.
Yeah, we were talking about ghosts being ironic and be like, oh, at least self-deprecating ghosts.
Yes. Like I hate ghosts that just take themselves too seriously. Like if you're gonna haunt me, have a sense of humor about it. Like put a fucking sheet on or something like that.
Yeah, but they don't want to get canceled.
Yeah, exactly.
They're like, no, the KKK
I don't even think the
took
ghosts
that from
want
us.
to be.
They don't want to be affiliated with the KKK.
Exactly.
And they're like, oh, I wish we could, but I won't do it. Just put a white sheet on. Oh, the shit we talk about.
Yes, but no, we do maintain a very good friendship and have lots of conversations that you guys don't hear about.
Oh, I feel
it's
bad sometimes.
It's not all about you guys. Like, seriously, ego check. Fuck.
Yeah, but I do feel bad because we do have such great conversations that I'm like, oh, we're throwing away gold here. Like, we have something, we have a really great topic, and we'll be talking about it, and be like, well, it's gone.
It's like a pretty leaf that falls into the stream and then floats away.
And gets shat on by a dog. I don't know.
Eaten by a duck. I don't know. I don't know what ducks eat.
Other ducks. Ducks are assholes.
Interesting.
Have you seen their teeth? Have you seen their screwdriver penis? Corkscrew penis. Ducks are vicious AF. like everyone likes to think that nature is like perfect and well balanced, and it's like, oh, nature's so beautiful. It's like, no, fuck you. It's really not.
Oh man, like when I was down there in Lewiston, I went to a park, like just really really pretty park. There's a back eddy from the big river there, and so I walk up there. I'm like, oh man, this is nice. Green leaves everywhere. The grass is still green. It's still summer.
Yeah.
And look, I'm like, oh frick, there's a whole flock of geese like 20 feet from me on the beach. They haven't noticed me yet, so I just kind of like hung out there watching them, and then a flock of ducks came in, and they like saw the geese and like curled back to the other side of the back eddy and plopped in the water, and they were all just sitting there staring at each other like it was a fucking gang war, like the Crips and Bloods.
Wrong neighborhood, motherfucker.
Oh yeah, like the geese started honking, and the ducks were quacking, like they were talking shit.
So you were saying that the geese were there first, and then these these foreigners came from abroad and tried to take over the territory.
They were Canadian geese.
Oh, they were Canadian geese.
They were 100% Canadian geese. I was like, my
so they were
homies,
squatters.
what's up? They were squatters.
Squatters.
Yes.
Do Americans call them Canadian geese? Or they just call them geese.
No, they're Canadian geese.
I know that everyone says that they migrate. Oh, I learned shit about migration. It is not as old as we think it is, like the understanding. How long do you think they've known about migration for? What year approximately do you think they discovered what migration was?
Like, did they discover, or did geese discover migration?
No,
or people?
No, people discover migration. Like, what was going on?
I don't really know.
I think it was around the 1200s. Like, Aristotle thought that they were crustaceans. He was like, oh, they turn into crabs in the winter, and they go into the water, and they come back out. And it was like, there was a certain
awesome
level of they don't know what they are.
They don't know what's happening.
They don't follow them long enough, and the only way...
Where did all the birds go?
Yeah, everyone discovered... And it's like, oh, they turn into crabs for the winter, and they go into the water, and that's where they go. Or, I don't know, some really fucked up, weird theories. And do you know how they discovered that it was actually migration? Is a hunter shot a bird down, and then he realized, oh, this one's got a spear in it. Oh, a spear from Africa. So they were like, he didn't know where the spear came from. He just saw like some kind of weapon or something into the bird, and so he took it to his smart friend, and he was like, "Oh, this is in Africa." What? And they knew what season they came back. So they just didn't know where they went.
Like,
so,
I have a hard time buying that because it's like, it's pretty freaking obvious that there's a whole flock of birds moving in one direction.
At one time a year.
At one time a year, and they're moving the other direction 6 months later.
You would think that. But I think we stand on the shoulders of giants in a lot of ways that we're like, yeah, well, obviously it's that.
That or Aristotle's just kind of fucking crackpot.
There was a lot of crackpots after him, too. That's the thing. He wasn't the only one. A lot of people had a lot of theories, and they were all very out to lunch.
See, like, sometimes, like, you gotta trust Bushmen more than philosophers.
You need the guy who's like, every single year I hunt them the same spot. They come to my waterfall. And it's like, hey, I went down to my neighbor 200 miles south. Same thing, except a day earlier. It's just this idea that we assume that the elders or the old people back in the day knew more than we did. And anyways, it was quite an interesting discovery listening to this guy, and he had a thing for Aristotle. He called him fucking Aristotle, because Aristotle had this thing of it's called a halo effect. Mm-hmm. Everyone assumes that you're good at something because you're good at one thing.
Yeah, just
like pretty people. Oh, they got to be smart because they're good looking. Turns out, no, they can be just as retarded, if not more so, based strictly on the fact that they're good looking and very little is expected of them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like not Thomas Edison, but was the guy that discovered gravity and stuff? Newton.
Newton, yeah.
Yeah, Isaac Newton. Also fully believed in alchemy.
Yep.
Like that was just an automatic thing. There's just...
Obviously.
He believed you could take certain elements and do stuff to them to make them other elements, like turn water into gold.
Yeah.
If you had the right...
if you had the right formula, the right machine, the right...
Cook it at the right temperature.
Yeah. Keep cooking.
They fully believed in that.
Yeah. There's so many weird things. something about water. They would like evaporate water and then or steam it or something like that, and there would still be some kind of residue left over, and they had to figure out what it was, and they were calling it like vapor. I don't know. They were distilling water essentially. Yeah, distilling it, like making it evaporate, and there would always be something left over, no matter how much they did. But it turned out it was just science sweat. Like the people who were doing the experiments sweat a little bit, and there was always residual because it can't soak that up. So it was just.
I guess there could be salt in the water, or mineral content, or something like that, right?
Yeah,
that
it was just
would be invisible to them.
But science was very stumped by it for a long time. They're like, "Oh, it is absolute water," or I think it was dark water or something like that. They had some weird name for it. They were like, they made it very special, and then somebody else just looked. It's like, no, it's sweat. There's a lot of assumptions that we have of old science, and that's where you ever watch that documentary, Game Changers. No. It was all about vegetarians and how the greatest warriors were all vegetarians. And if you do this, if you had a vegan diet, you're going to be way more healthy, way more competitive, and just better in every single way. And it makes you a better person.
Of course. There's the added moral benefit.
Yes. And they were talking up veganism like it was the greatest thing ever, and it always was. And we only recently discovered meat. I'm like, no. Gladiators were slaves. What do you feed slaves? Cheap stuff. Whatever's available. Even if he's a very high-valued one, you're eating the meat.
Gladiators aren't warriors.
Yeah, they were most of the time slaves, and there were some.
Yeah, there's some that got good at fighting, or maybe you were a disgraced warrior, or maybe you were somebody that went there and it was like feeding lamb to the slaughter. You had a bunch of crippled slaves that you could go and cut up with your foreman and be like, I'm a big man. I'm a good warrior soldier. But the soldiers were off fighting wars.
Yeah, they were actually doing stuff. Well, another thing, the post-hoc Christianity, where they were like, oh, they killed Christians in the Colosseum. And it's like, no, they weren't martyred. They were declared Christians after they were killed in the Colosseum. So they would kill them first and then declare them Christians. So they weren't actually being martyred.
Are you saying that there weren't martyrs?
I'm not saying there weren't martyrs. I'm not saying that. I'm saying a large majority of them were not martyrs. They were declared Christians after being killed.
Yeah, I mean like a witch hunt.
Yeah, well, they were just like, they didn't want to seem barbaric. They didn't want to be like, they didn't want to look at their government as barbaric people. It's like, no, these were all Christian people. They all went to heaven. Don't worry about it. It made them just seem better than they were.
But no, because they didn't believe in heaven. They were a pagan society. Like that wouldn't have been like,
not they were Colosseum. They were adopting Christianity. During the later years of the Colosseum, they had adopted Christianity into the Roman theos.
Okay.
Yeah. But they wanted to seem more compassionate while simultaneously giving people what they want. People want games. People want entertainment. Our modern day UFC is great. And then you got bare knuckle boxing and stuff like that. People love that shit. And if you got a Christian who does it,
so right then there, you're boiling down the whole thing about Christians being martyred by the Romans to one part later on in the history.
Yeah, I kind of convoluted them.
Not at the front end.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know about the front end. I don't know about those ones.
Lots of it.
Lots of killing of peoples. But they would persecute anybody. Heck, if you were a I don't know, what did they had for Romans? What did they have for Roman gods? They had a few.
Yeah, they had the whole pantheon of them.
Yeah, so if you were just the wrong kind of Roman at the wrong time, they'd be like, you're up. It's your turn.
For the games.
But
that's not... Like, the games weren't the be-all, end-all of martyrdom. In fact, it was a small slice of it. Like, most martyrdom is just good old-fashioned going in and killing a bunch of people in their beds.
Yeah, just for fun.
There's not a lot of showmanship to it.
A lot of people, they always want the showmanship of being martyred. If I was going to be killed for my religion, I want to make sure everyone sees it and everyone knows what I stood for. And it's like, nah, you're gonna be snuffed out like a candle in the night. They're gonna have no idea that you were.
Or you're just going to be the brunt end of a mob.
Yeah, yeah, it's true. And it's not just Christians. Look at the Uyghur Muslims. And do you got to say Uyghur Muslims, or is it assumed that they're Muslim because they're Uyghurs?
I honestly don't.
Is that like saying Muslim?
It might be.
It might be. Anyways, the Chinese Uyghur Muslims being persecuted in China right now as slave labor because of their religion. So don't think, oh, Christians are the only ones getting persecuted. No, everyone does. Do you ever think that teenagers back in the day, you're like, I get persecuted for what I believe? It's like, no, you get questioned. People don't believe you because they don't know that your faith is authentic or not. You don't know whether it's not authentic. So you're just being questioned. You're not being persecuted. No one's like, oh, I'm not going to hang out with you because you're a Christian. It's like, you're just not fun to be around.
Yeah.
You're a bit of a tool.
Persecution is a big word here. You don't have any right to use it because people don't like you because you're a dipshit.
You're just kind of an asshole.
Yeah.
If you were less of an asshole, maybe people would want to hang out with you. You don't. And I was the asshole. Well, actually, no, I was pretty cool. I'm not saying I wasn't an asshole. I'm just saying the cool kids were all right with me. I didn't get invited to a lot of the parties. Well, no, I did after high school. I got invited to a lot of parties. It was weird because they were like, "Hey, Mike, want to hang out?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I do."
So you were that weird guy after you graduated or after you left high school hanging out with all the people still in high school?
No. We were all at high school at that point.
Okay.
I just stayed in contact with some of my friends after high school.
That has a whole lot of...
that was, yeah.
Oh, what is that? The vibes of Matthew McConaughey?
All right.
Greatest thing about becoming old is all the women stay the same age.
I keep getting older and they stay the high school girls.
Yeah, high school girls. It's like, that's awkward, dude.
Yeah, but then you gotta listen to them talk, and high school kids are dumb. No offense to anyone under the age of 18 that listens, but you don't fucking know a lot right now. You'll learn that as you get older.
Yes, says us. Who
Says us.
Spout random non-fact check bullshit into microphones.
Yes. The shit we don't know, trust me, you'll learn it, and then unlearn it, and then relearn it again later.
Scratch that. Trust us.
Trust us.
Don't check. Don't fact check.
Just trust.
Just trust
If
us.
you had enough faith in us, we'd be right.
If we disagree about something, we're both right.
We're both right. No matter what, the point is you're wrong.
How did we get on this from ducks?
I don't know. Oh yeah, fucking the geese.
The geese.
And the ducks having turf wars over in America.
Oh man.
Oh, okay, sorry about that. That was great.
Oh, the trip. Yeah, it was a good old fashioned like station wagon like road trip.
Yeah, you sent me a picture of one of the roads that you could go on there. How many turns was it?
Okay, yeah. Oh, so where we went to was to visit my wife's family in Lewiston, Idaho.
Yeah.
So that is...
What's the address?
It's...
I'm going to dox them right here.
like I fucking know an address.
Google Maps told me where to go.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, send me your pin drop.
Yeah.
It's like, I'll route plan digitally. Like, I don't know.
Lewiston, that's enough. That is enough information. You should be able to find his family.
Exactly.
So you went there.
They're the white ones. No, but everybody's white there. It's the Northwest.
It's the Northwest. It's like 5 black people. So you went there, and there was one road. How many curves?
Okay, so there's this old highway that used to be the highway down to Lewiston.
That used to be the highway.
That used to be the highway.
Huh.
So Lewiston itself is a small city at the bottom of a big gorge, which makes our Peace Valley look cute by comparison.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it's got like everywhere from there is uphill. Like you have to go uphill or you're just riding down by the rivers.
Yeah.
So to go uphill, there's this huge, big grading switchbacks. It goes it's like 2,000 feet of elevation change.
Okay.
And now, of course, they've got a big 4-lane divided highway that's like just like long ass, straight stretch, big sweeping curve, and then another long ass straight stretch, and then you're at the top of the thing. But it used to be this one road they called the Old Spiral Highway.
Old Spiral.
Yes. And when I say spiral, it really feels like a spiral.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I mean, you're not obviously physics. Like,
Yeah, I was gonna be like, wow.
You can't go around in a circle.
Just keep taking lefts.
But you keep doubling back. You keep doubling back. You go around a hill and then double back, and then like it's insane. It's 64 curves in 7.5 miles, and from the mouth of the road to where it meets the highway at the top is 2,000 feet of elevation change.
Wow. See, that the picture, I saw the picture, but it never does it justice. It never does it justice.
No, it doesn't.
How did...
And paved beautifully.
Isn't that the weirdest thing?
Like, not a frost heave, not a pothole.
That's something I like about America.
Yeah, and the corners are nicely banked.
Oh, really?
So you can go up that thing like it's a racetrack. I mean, you got to be careful, because if you override that road, you're going for a long-ass ride down the hill.
You're not just going to catch the next road like in Mario Kart? Like just the Rainbow Road in Mario
Yeah,
Kart?
it'd be like Rainbow Road in Mario Kart. Yeah, if you hit it just right,
Except if you don't, you fucking die. Unlike Mario Kart, where you get another chance.
Yeah, the guardrails, though, total joke. They're just big posts along the side of the road with the...
They should make them out of middle fingers.
With a long cable.
Fuck you.
Yeah, and the posts have a long cable from post to post. So if you go off the end, you're catching that cable and just going... front flips forever.
Just gone. That's so funny. They should make the posts look like middle fingers. Like, this is not goof. This is not for you. This is for us. We have cameras. This will be entertaining as fuck.
Oh, yeah. It was so much fun. I did that road like 4 times.
Oh, really?
Because it was only a 15-minute ride from my in-laws' place.
A 15-minute ride to it. How long did it take you to actually do the run? Because that level of ins and outs and corners, 7.5 miles.
It took me 15 minutes tootling up it the first time.
Yeah.
That's about, that's like 8 miles, right? So, just going pretty good, but responsibly. I did it in about 15 minutes. My shortest time was 9.
Wow.
Yeah. Going down at one time, I had curse on the back, too.
Oh! Oh! She's not short, too. She like that would change the way the bike handles on so many levels.
Oh, yeah. That was the only time, like, I went down it hard timing it. I went up it the next day with my brother-in-law. Like, he had his own bike.
Yeah.
And we went up it, and I was riding the shit out of my bike.
Yeah.
Trying to keep up to him. Because he rides it. He's ridden it every day, basically, all summer.
Yeah.
On a crotch rocket and on this really, really sweet little, it's not little because it's big, but it's a hypermotard type of thing. It's a supermoto bike.
Okay.
Built by Husqvarna.
Yeah.
And that thing's just ridiculously fast.
Really? Did it sound like a chainsaw?
No. Okay.
See, I anytime you say Husqvarna, I just imagine a 2-stroke chainsaw.
So you look at it and it looks like a big dirt bike.
Yeah. I saw the pictures, yeah.
Yeah, it's basically a big dirt bike. But when you look closer, you're like, okay, these wheels are like crotch rocket wheels.
Yeah.
They're big, wide, like great wide rubber on it, low profile.
Yeah.
And like I took it for a drive and I was like, oh, this is not what I expected at all.
What were you were you expecting like low torque and
yeah,
high speed?
I was expecting like, okay, some low end torque here, a little bit of grunt, but it'd be like a dirt bike, like another dirt bike that I've ridden.
Yeah.
But no, it was like sport bike fast.
Wow.
Like, but with instantaneous torque because it's a single cylinder engine.
What?
It's a 700cc single cylinder engine.
Just one soup can just sitting there rocking the whole thing.
Yep. And like it's like you crack the throttle, instantaneous go. And you think like, okay, like a dirt bike, like wing, and then it's kind of like powered out sort of thing, and then you but no, it just keeps going like the pinch weasel.
Yeah.
Or sorry,
It's a 1998 Honda CBR 900
Yeah,
RR. We nicknamed motorcycles
we picked up this old Honda crotch rocket
for a buck a cc.
Yeah, it was a 900cc sport bike, which is damn near a liter bike.
Yep.
That bike's just stupid fast, but so it felt like that.
Yeah.
So when we're on it, like I'm on my bike and I'm just like I've got the throttle twisted all the way till it stops.
Yeah.
And he just like flick of the wrist and he's like gone. Like he's just
That's insane.
It is insane.
5-speed, 4-speed?
It might even be a 6-speed.
Oh,
like,
really?
It's like
It had an overdrive.
Yeah,
Oh,
like
okay.
it's 100% like a road going drive chain.
Really? Because I know I don't want to say most, some of those hyper bikes, they keep them low torque just to, or lower gears so they can.
Well, that thing will do 130 miles an hour.
Wow. That's awesome. I'm jealous. All right. And you said that wasn't even your most favorite road.
No, it wasn't. So
there was another road.
Yeah. So that one was like super technical and awesome fun. And at the top, you got this just like spectacular view.
Yeah.
But my favorite one was one that, so Lewiston, it sits right in like the pie shape between two different rivers. Like where it's a river called the Snake River, tees into one called the Clearwater River.
Okay.
So you go up that Snake River to up a place called Hell's Canyon. And you're just riding this gorgeous road along the river.
Aren't those the best?
Yeah, and it's again super curvy. It's not quite as technical as the spiral highway because you're not doubling back so hard. You don't have the bank things. Like you can't ride it as hard.
Yeah.
But it was just picturesque and awesome. And he and I still like were retarded. Like so, it's a 35 mile an hour speed limit on that road.
Yeah.
And
what did you feel like you could have done it at? How your feelings?
Well,
you have a lot of feelings.
On our way back, we crossed paths with a cop who is going the other direction from us, who came around a corner. We didn't see him.
Obviously, it was around blind corners.
And so he started yelling obscenities at us and pointing down, waving, telling us to slow down.
So there was a deer ahead, or what? Was there a reason? God hates a coward. Come on.
The reason
Don't be a pussy.
Yeah. So in that 35, which in kilometers an hour is roughly 50.
Yeah.
We were doing 80.
That's
miles an hour.
Oh. Fuck. 80 miles. That's
it was
a lot.
One of those things where Pat looked back and he's just he kind of looked and then he looked forward and he disappeared.
It's like, fuck this noise. We ain't stopping for shit.
And so I'm trying to catch up to him and I'm like, I'm not taking this heat.
Yeah, you can't. Well, you don't want to take that heat, but you can't keep up with him either.
Can't keep up with him either, but at the same time I'm like,
you can outrun a cop.
There's not a chance in hell that cop was turning around to chase us down that road that fast.
No.
Not a chance in hell. But yeah, when I tell you though, like that the bike I was riding wasn't Rosie. It was it was my freshly fixed Suzuki Intruder 1400, which by all accounts is a slow motorcycle. Like it's more about the fun, the feel, the rattle.
Yeah.
Classic cruiser. But I tell you, man, I was riding that thing on the damn limit.
Yeah.
Like, because its suspension sucks balls. It's so sketchy. Like, when I come up to a curve, and I'm slowing down twice as far ahead as where Pat is slowing down for a curve.
Yeah.
And, like, just barely taming it enough to take the bank for the next thing. The suspension's bouncing all over the place like it's a horse under me.
Do you ever feel like the more you ride other motorcycles, you're like, I need another bike? Just, especially riding something like that Husqvarna, I'd be like, I need another one.
Yeah, the thought definitely crossed my mind. I mean, and he offered, like, do you want to take my Triumph crotch rocket like for the day.
What kind of Triumph crotch rocket was it? The
So it was
600?
it was a 675 triple.
Okay.
It was which one was this one? It was the naked one. It didn't have the fairings. Like,
Yeah.
our buddy Stretch, he had that one with like that one Triumph crotch rocket, the gold
Yeah.
one, the Daytona.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Daytona. It was that same bike without the fairing.
Oh,
Like
that's a lot of. I find fairings, they do strip a lot of friction off the front end.
yeah.
So I feel like sometimes you throw that extra friction, it slows the guy down, but you can only slow down so much.
Yeah. So I was thinking about taking that thing out. I would have loved it. I would have had so much fun. But at the same time, I'm like, man, I just got this bike back up. And like in these hills, like this is like classic easy rider territory. And like in my mind, it just felt
Better to be on a cruiser.
it just felt so romantic, like to be riding this slow, loud, rumbly bike that rattled, and like you seeing like the chrome angled bars gleaming in the sunlight in front of me. Like that just felt right. I was I know I'll go faster on this bike, but at the same time, like
You'd be worried about everything else too. It's like, okay, what's around this corner? Your nerves would not be as chill on someone else's bike. I mean, on someone else's. Like, if you're a little more worried about what is underneath you, you're a little more aware of I would be more worried about fucking up their bike.
Not a chance. That bike would have outperformed everything I did on that one without breaking a sweat.
Oh, really?
I would have been so much more fast on that bike. I mean, because like I've spent time on
Yeah,
you've
spent times on rockets too.
I spent time on crotch rockets. Like that wasn't the thing. It wouldn't have threw me at all. In fact, I even sat on it and I was like, this is a very comfy one. Like it felt ergonomically fantastic.
Yeah.
How fast I was riding on my bike scared the shit out of me. Because I was overriding it. Like, not just riding it on the limit, I was overriding it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's so damn sketchy. So even though I was so much slower, because like Pat was doing all the stuff on his bike just effortlessly, right? And
Yeah.
I'm sitting here like I feel like I'm trying to tame a bucking bronco, and that turned into the fun.
Yeah.
Like how shitty my bike is turned into the fun, because that's where the danger was. Like, oh, that one freaked me out.
Yeah.
Like
I don't think people understand that the imperfections of a motorcycle is what make a motorcycle great. Everyone thinks you need a perfect motorcycle to have a good motorcycle. No, the imperfection is what makes it so fucking awesome. Just the flaws make it perfect. That's just my opinion, though. I think the Japanese or Chinese have some kind of saying about that. It's a perfection of imperfection.
something like that. But it needs to work, right? Like it needs,
Oh yeah, you can't be so shitty that you're like terrified.
Yeah, I mean, riding that bike like a sane person is not terrifying at all. Like,
No.
it's very pleasant. Like it's got plenty of punch, and it handles
thing
handles reasonably well for an old cruiser.
1,400 cc's on a naked frame. There's nothing to that bike. It doesn't
But at
have
the same
all
time,
that. It doesn't
just
have bags.
Totally felt gutless compared to that Husqvarna with its one cylinder half the size of my bike.
Yeah, isn't that weird? The way that they engineer these things to just do all this.
Yeah, it just felt so gutless compared to that. But at the same time, like just the rattle, the rumble, the sound of the pipes on D-cell, like seeing, my mirrors kind of clatter and stuff like that. Like all of that is a certain amount of symphony to it.
Yeah.
That, like I said, is romantic.
Yeah. Sounds like you had a great trip. So you took your time going there, took your time coming back. Like you did.
Yeah, like I said, it was a classic, like old time. You look in the movies, like when like the family gets together and they're like, "Hey, we're going on a road trip," and like as you go, you're having experiences, and when you get to where you're going, like it's just a part of the overall thing. Like,
yeah.
The destination, while being the main course, I guess,
Yeah.
wasn't the whole dinner. That
It
wasn't
wasn't.
the whole point of what
It wasn't
we were
the dessert.
doing.
It wasn't the appetizer. It was like, okay, this is a meal, but there's other parts to it. Where, what was your longest leg? Because you guys didn't get that far. I was like, oh, they're going to be in America. It takes 1 day to get there, 2 days maybe. Well, 1 day to get the first leg, second day to get the second.
Our longest stretch, kilometers wise, would have been from Kelowna to Lewiston.
Okay.
Yeah, that would have been the longest. I think it was something like 650 kilometers.
Really? I didn't realize it was that close.
Yeah, it was less than 700.
Wow. It's really weird because you just get so used to. Well, I put down. What did we do? Man and I put on 1,000 kilometers on our way back in one day, and it was on the motorcycle.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I mean, and I've done that too. Like, believe me, like Carissa and I have done turn and burns all day long, our whole marriage.
Yeah.
You know, like like her family used to live in
North Dakota, wasn't it? Or
yeah,
South Dakota?
North fucking Dakota.
Yeah,
which is way less fun than South Dakota.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I've seen some pictures of North Dakota. It looks North Dakota, the Badlands. It looks pretty badass.
The Badlands are okay.
Really?
Like,
I think Wolverine kind of just blew them up for me. I just can't believe, because North Dakota's right on the border of Saskatchewan.
I've been to the Badlands. I'm like,
yeah, but
I've seen that before.
What blows me away is the fact that it's right on the border of Saskatchewan and Manitoba, and right there.
And trust me, brother, it damn well feels like it. Like, the Badlands are such a small percentage.
Oh, really?
Of what North Dakota is. It's like just the tip.
Just the tip.
North Dakota.
Just the tip is
nothing.
Exactly.
But Manitoba and Saskatchewan continued.
So it's just the tip, and then after that you're just getting fucked.
The only difference between southern Saskatchewan and damn well all of North Dakota is there's more windmills.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, see, now I have no desire to go there. I'm like, oh, I'm good then.
No, I'll say right now, I mean, like, I really, like, the people there are super nice, salt of the earth, but fuck North Dakota.
So if you live there, great. If you
fly overstate,
if you are the land itself, fuck you, land.
And to get there, do you know where you get to go through? You get to go through the worst parts of Alberta. You get to go through southern Saskatchewan. That's it.
That's it.
You are running straight roads the whole way, and it's a long ass way. So when we went to go visit her family there, it was like, all right, I got night shift, you got day shift.
You just get her done.
Yeah.
Isn't that the way it is? See, I'm a get it done driver. I'm all about just, hey, let's make miles. And Amanda is the, hey, we should stop somewhere. Hey, look at this scenery or whatever. And I'm just a fucking giver, which, you know, it's tough for her because she loves driving. It was like when her and I went down to her grandfather's funeral, It was her idea to take the motorcycle, not mine.
She wanted to enjoy the trip.
Not even enjoy the trip, because she'd enjoy it more if she could sleep. And technically, she did take a little nap here and there, but
what I mean was she wanted to enjoy the experience of travel.
She loves the experience. I did this, and she gets to say it. Yeah, I rode all the way there because we'd never done that together. I've done it. You've done it, and she's gone with her family. We've taken the vehicle down there half a dozen times.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's one thing. But to say no, I rode the back of the motorcycle all the way there. Now she can say she did it.
Yeah.
And she's done it like. She was very confident, and we did it in one day. A lot of people, they take their time. They'll go halfway. They'll go most of the way, or start the trip one day and then finish with the next. Just like finish the work day. Hey, we'll go as far as Prince George and to get a hotel.
Which, I mean, in a lot of ways makes sense.
Oh yeah, it's logical. It's safe. It's comfortable. But she was like, no, fuck it, we're going. We don't want to get a hotel.
Yeah. So, yeah, with our deal here, we were like, no, we're taking 2 weeks off, and we're only going to be 1 week or less on location.
Yeah.
The rest...
Can you give me the foig? That's a foig. Just a little.
A little hair on your chest with that one there.
That's right.
But yeah, like, we wanted, like, a classic road trip.
Yeah.
Like, ones that she remembered when she was a kid. Like, it was like, okay, let's go out of our way to, like, do kitschy shit.
Yeah.
Or let's go out of our way to take the most scenic way, even if it's out of the way of the most direct way to get where we're going.
Yeah.
Because we don't care about how far we're going to make it today.
And the thing is, you had Mac with you too, so you got to like really like let him experience these things that
Yeah, exactly.
most of the time it's no, maybe next time. Oh, maybe next time. Like every time you do one of these drives.
But like part of the whole thing with doing this trip is since I started to the charter, like the club,
Yep.
every single vacation day was consumed by that.
Yep.
And like I made the best of it by often taking family with me for things or trying to make it work, or in some ways just often just leaving them behind.
Yep. And it was
so-
easier to leave them behind too.
Yeah,
honestly.
100%. So much easier to leave them behind, so much more fun. Not because of their absence, just because of trying to make it all work with 20 other people.
While maintaining the family dynamic of it.
Yeah, it's just,
It-
it was...
It became more
didn't
work than it was worth. You're like,
Yeah.
man, I love you so much, and I don't want to disappoint you, but because I love you so much, I am taking away from what this experience could be. And it's
frustrating.
It is super
'Cause
frustrating.
You feel like you're doing both poorly.
Yes, you can't do, and by doing, yeah, exactly, doing both poorly, and it
Yeah.
really sucks.
Yeah, so it was like, damn it, like, we need to do a real family vacation.
Yep.
And like just drink it into the max. And like I was hoping like it wouldn't be a disaster, and I wasn't disappointed. Like it was just
Yeah.
fantastic. It was
Vehicle
it was-
ran good.
Yeah,
Fucking
it was great.
I when I heard that you had some issues with your van, I'm like, oh, that sucks. Cause
We weren't taking that anyway.
no, you weren't taking that. You weren't going to be taking that.
We said like the second we had the idea of going to Lewiston at this time of year, we're like, oh, it's going to be warm there. We're bringing a bike.
Yeah,
Like there was no other option.
yeah. You bring it it's for, both for her and for you.
Yeah,
like when
freaking A.
well, the thing is when you get the green light from the wife, it's just great. It's like because deep down you want to take the bike. You're like, fuck. Given a choice, I'd do it. Yeah, of course I want to take the bike.
Yeah, and like, of course, I didn't get to ride it for the road trip. Like, we brought it there to have as our toy
Yeah.
while we were down there, which worked out because Lewiston is bikers' fucking paradise.
Was it tons of bikers there? Tons of motorcycles?
There's a fantastic Harley dealership there. There's an Indian dealership. Like, there's lots of bikes around.
Sounds nice.
Yeah, and like the roads, like every direction you go is fantastic. Even the stuff in town, because like I said, Lewiston's built at the bottom of a valley, and they just build roads on dry creek beds.
So it's just following the land. It's not it's not a grid. It's following the land.
Everything follows the land,
Oh fuck, that sounds gorgeous.
and all of the land is made by water, and water makes curvy shit,
Yeah, that's right. Path of least resistance.
right? Like, and so that's just what everything was. Like, it was just fantastic, and like next time I go down there, I have a bike road trip that I'm going to take from there.
Yeah.
That's going to be like a 2-day thing, going from Lewiston to Missoula, Idaho. That goes over a place called Lolo's Pass. And that, from what I see and what I've heard from people who do that trip,
Yeah.
is like just an absolute fantastic ride. But that's like a 6-hour ride.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, I'm going to Missoula, camp the night there, I'm going to head back. So next time I go down, that's what I'm up to.
That's what you're up to. You're gonna make it a little longer trip and make it
I
go
don't know.
somewhere.
I might just be down there and be like, okay, bye, guys.
Love you,
Honey, this is your family, not mine.
but I'm taking your brother with me.
There, you're a problem. Oh, and Pat would, as long as Pat had the time off work, he'd be like, yep, bye.
Oh, that'd be so great.
Yeah.
I'm super happy that you got to do that trip. That sounds awesome. So you got to do all the Nietzsche stuff with the kids. You get to just hit up the. Which way did you take on the way down there?
We went down to Jasper and then over to Valemont, or Valemount, and from Valemount down to
Yeah.
And in Kelowna, we hooked up with Nigel.
Yeah.
You guys remember him from the podcast?
Yeah.
Freaking solid guy.
If you don't remember him, be sure to listen to our very first Building Brotherhood featuring Nigel Drepa.
Drappadoo. Yeah, so I went down and saw him. We did dinner. We bombed around on our bikes in downtown Kelowna. Oh my gosh. Nigel.
He was riding like a bat out of fucking hell, apparently.
So we got done dinner, and Nigel's like, "Hey, Cursa, I mean, this is after like also like an hour of hanging out, like walking downtown Kelowna, the waterfront, going to see the boats and the yachts and stuff like that. And it's
already
real
boring shit.
It's already like 10 o'clock, and so it's like it's time to wrap up. And Nigel's like, "Hey, Cursa, like, do you mind if I borrow your husband for a little while? Like, just I could really use to go for a good ride." And you know, have a heart to heart.
Ooh, Nigel using the heart to heart.
You betcha, solid brother right there. Oh, solid. Like
he knew
talk about a solid wingman move.
He knew your heart, and he's like, I got you, man. I know deep down you want to ride.
Oh man, and my wife, bless her heart, she was like. She laughed because she knew exactly what was up. She was like, go have fun. Try not to be too late.
That's so funny.
So we hop on the bike. I'm like, all right, Nigel, where you want to go? And he's like, oh, yeah, let's just go let's do a quick rip, you know, and sort of things. We're thinking of where to go. He's like, oh, we'll do the West Kelowna Road. And I forgot how long the West Kelowna Road is.
It's got some miles on it. So it's not a short one.
And of course, like we're already at the point where we got to go like around over the bridge even to get to.
Yeah.
And so we hit up the West Kelowna Road, and it is pitch black.
Yeah.
That road is as curvy as anything I rode down south. Like
yeah.
It's an amazing biker road. It's just renowned. Pardon me. But the pavement's rough.
Yeah.
Like the pavement is rough. There's crazy hairpin corners.
Lots of blind corners. And the one thing you don't notice when you ride it during the day is there's no overhead lighting anywhere. Forgot about that.
So
mostly because we rode it at daytime.
It's only what you see by your headlight is what is illuminated.
And because of counter steering, you were constantly pointing your headlight the other direction.
And so Nigel, like I said, riding like a crazy person.
Okay. I asked you this, and I never got a straight answer from you.
Okay.
You said he was riding like a crazy person, where you had to slow down. I realized you were having some mechanical issues.
Well, I didn't realize that at the time, because like I'm just there trying to ride this. I realized like, okay, we can't do this bar to bar.
Yeah. That's not a bar to bar road.
We did it for about 20 minutes bar to bar.
Yeah.
And then it gets to this point where the shoulders go away because it's just too tight.
Yeah.
And then my side of the road kept having these like 6-inch frosties.
Yeah. See, last time I rode it, I was center, so no, I was back. I was in the back in the center.
Yeah, and that jacked with me too. So I was like, okay, I gotta back off. I can't keep in the pocket here.
Yeah.
But I mean, I was still acquitting myself well. Like I was right behind him, not like stretching way back.
Yeah, kind of like we were last year, like right behind.
Yeah. Like I was like right on his tail, just not bar to bar. Like it was still, if he went down, I was fucked.
Yeah.
So, of course, it's different though. Like it's different than riding with Pat as a crazy person, because Pat as a crazy person is riding on a very capable motorcycle.
Yeah.
And Nigel is riding on a late 2000s...
A clapped out Harley Road Glide. I'm sorry, but that thing has been just
clapped out Road Glide, right? Like he's got like plenty of jam. Like it really is like got grunt to it. Like it out-drags my Intruder.
Really?
For sure.
Okay.
Like it... Like, so, but still, it's similar power, similar vibe, similar power delivery, right? Like, you feel connected, you feel like you're in the pocket. With Pat, it was like... It felt really disconnected.
Yeah.
Because he's on a whole. It's like a spaceship compared to like a locomotive train, right? Like it's two different things.
Yeah.
It may have two wheels and an engine. That's about where the similarities stop.
That's where it stops. Yeah.
It's like trying to ride with somebody on a race bike, like in pack ride. Like it's just two different things. They're geared differently. They feel different. Like it doesn't feel good to be doing one or the other.
Okay.
So with Nigel, it felt good, similar things, but he's still a crazy person.
Okay, this is where my question landed was he, do you think he was riding beyond his skill level to a certain point? Because I know some riders where they are fucking insane, but they're not insanely good riders.
Okay, he was doing exactly what I do.
Okay.
Which was riding on the limit of his bike's capability.
That's good. That's a good pocket to be in.
However, like his talent level has gone it's just skyrocketed.
He's gotten so much better.
So much better.
Because I remember the first time you rode with him and Steve and him and Steven, where they were like, Devin's a madman. Where you were taking him to school. Where this one, you could see where, those lessons have come in handy. Where
he's leveled up to the point where like it's like it, apples to apples. Like he's as far as I consider like
he's a great rider.
Damn, like,
good. That's awesome. I'm super happy to hear that because I was terrified because I know guys. If you follow me on Facebook, I got a buddy, and I posted him in a in a tag of letting that one friend ride your motorcycle, because
but like
he makes you nervous. There's some guys that they ride, and it's like you're gonna fuck my bike.
I will tell you that any normal person riding with Nigel will say, "You scare the shit out of me."
Yes, but we're not normal riders.
No, we're not. We push these old hunks of metal to their absolute limit, and like we said earlier, like there's something fun. There's something fun about riding bikes that shouldn't do this to their limit. Even though, of course, if you hopped on a better machine, you would be faster.
Yeah, but that's like those people who like, oh, but my sports car. It's like, I know your sports car can do it, but my sleeper ricer piece of shit can almost do the same thing. But it has to work for it. And having to work for it really does make a difference. It does bring me to one of the topics I do want to talk about eventually. The next one that we're going to be doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
The working for it aspect.
Anyway, but I did have moments where I was like, okay, this feels extra sketchy.
Yeah.
And that concerned me because the last time I rode this motorcycle, I dumped it and broke a couple ribs. So I went straight from fixing it and driving it to your place to doing this stupid motorcycle trip with Nigel. And of course, this is like middle of the night. I didn't think we were going to be out this long. And when we get 50 kilometers down the road, and I'm like, oh man, this is taking a while yet. So we pull over. I want to see how far it is to get back yet. It's like, oh, it's another 50 kilometers to the end of this road.
Yeah.
And then from the end of this road, I still have to go through Vernon all the way back to Kelowna on the other side of the lake.
That's right.
I was like, oh, frick, I miscalculated this.
It didn't seem that long the first time we did it. You just fucking do it. Like you
because
were thinking.
We never had to double back to Kelowna, right?
No.
We were just like, we were on the way. We're like, oh, this is just another way to get further south.
A more scenic.
So I didn't really have a comparison of what it meant to get back to someplace there. So I just thought like, oh yeah, this is another, and this isn't just a long detour we're taking. We're coming, but it is a long detour.
Okay, is it the West Kelowna? I thought it was called the West Okanagan Lake Road.
That I think it might be West Kelowna. I'm not sure.
Either way,
there's only one. Like
this road left me flabbergasted. When I rode it last year with you, I almost couldn't speak at the end of it because you're riding it for so long, so hard, just
and it's so fun.
Just it was damn near perfect with everything that was going on in that moment. At the end of it, I'm like, I almost couldn't speak. Yeah. which is an odd thing for a guy who loves to talk.
But it's not as fun in the dark because part of that experience is the sights. Seeing the lake and catching the views and the vistas. But like this was just pure terror and like keep the bike on the road.
Yeah,
it's fun.
It's fun, but
it was hyper focused.
Yeah.
It's still though. I got to the end of it. I was like, I don't feel all the way good about that. Like, man, like, does this bike suck more than I thought it did?
Because it doesn't. It's a good bike.
Like, I know it's a good bike. I know it's a handful. Because it's old tech all the way around, and it's a cruiser.
Yeah.
But like something fell off.
Yeah.
And I honestly just thought, like, oh, this is just the gap between Rosie and this, because I've been riding Rosie all year.
Yeah. Which is a big motorcycle.
But
you wouldn't
handle so amazing though. Like the suspension.
Do
on the
you,
Valkyrie
do you
is
think
friggin'
you
awesome.
could have handled Rosie as good as you did, even your even the Intruder on that road as good?
Yeah.
Really?
It's that much better.
I didn't realize that.
It is. Like the suspension and the brakes.
That is one of the biggest problems with Suzuki, is the fact that if they put out a product, they're like, all right, we're going to do such little changes to it that it's going to make no effect.
Yeah, because this bike was designed in the mid '80s.
Yeah.
And not a screw has been changed on it up until they discontinued it in 2009.
They added a gear.
Yeah, they added a gear halfway through the production line. So there's that.
Went from a 4-geared or 4-speed to a 5-speed.
It was a bike that was designed to compete with the Harley Evo engine,
Yeah.
and it did that well.
Yeah.
But it's been left behind ever since, right?
Yeah, but then the Evo, they stopped making the Evo, and they're like, no, we're going to keep going.
Yeah, this thing is it's like a living relic. Like an alligator hasn't changed since dinosaur times. Like, it's that kind of vibe, right? So the Valkyrie is just way better all around machine. Even though it's heavier, I could ride that bike faster on those roads than I could the Intruder.
Yeah.
So I'll say that, but still, it felt wonky. So took it down to Lewiston. Like I said, we were hauling it there, right? I took it off to ride with Nigel, but we loaded it back up. And in the daylight, I saw real quickly what my problem was.
How bad was it?
So I was gonna go for a ride on the Spiral Highway, but I'm like, I don't think I have time to go do it. Like, I just need to I need to get on the bike and do a quick tootle just to get it out of my system, and then we have family things to do today.
Yeah.
So I didn't get to ride every day.
Yeah.
But so I took it for a little rip, and I was like, oh yeah, that wonkiness is back. And then I look, and my handlebars, I could wiggle them like this.
Ugh.
Like,
He's doing the wave with his hands, left, right, like his full. You can't see it, so I gotta say
yeah,
it.
So, yeah, my handlebars, while I'm going, I just wiggled my hands like 2 to 3 inches on each side, and they flopped around, and the wheel kept going straight.
That's not supposed to do that.
It's not supposed to do that.
It's called cruise control, but I don't think it's how it works.
It's like that very, very much explained why it felt so sketchy, because when I pushed the input in to do a counter steer, right? It's like you push on the bar in order to tip it down into your corner.
Yeah.
And every time I do that, it's like just instantaneous slop. And then on the back end, trying to straighten the bike out, it's just slop.
Same level.
Yeah.
Well, I guess double, would be because you're compensating for the slop on one side and then the other.
Yep. So I was like, okay, alrighty then. This is a problem. I'm sure as hell glad I didn't do that Spiral Highway with my bars like that. Because
so you took a look and they just were not as tight as they should have been.
So, like I said, we put that bike together just like the week before taking this trip, right?
Yeah.
And me and Buddy, the guy that you work with, like we're doing it, and I'm kind of following his lead on stuff. I'm throwing him under the bus on this one.
Fuck it. Robbie does not listen. We can call him Robbie.
All right, Robbie. So I'm throwing Robbie under the bus on this one. So we're putting the risers back on, right? And so he's in charge of torquing, but part of why we undid the risers to begin with is because we had to figure out if my handlebars were bent. Because like when we looked at the bike, when we were kind of getting it fixed up, like one of the
risers were kicked a little different.
Yeah, one of the risers was kicked differently, and we thought it was a one-piece riser. Why is it doing that? Either the bar is bent or the riser is bent. And then we realized, oh no, there's a secret seam here. So it's like the risers are disconnected from the bottom of the clamp, right? It's not all one piece. Ooh.
Sorry.
You're itching yourself like an...
Sorry, I'm getting used to having a mesh in front of my face. Last episode did not sound as good, so I felt like I needed to distance myself.
Yeah, so the bottom clamp piece, which is a one-piece thing, it's got a big bolt that goes through it into the actual riser that goes off the triple tree.
Yeah.
And we realized that, like, in going down last year, like, the torque kind of, like, slid those things around, right? So that the elbow being twisted one direction was what was pulling the one side down. So we got it up and straight, and, like, I was kind of holding it straight so that it looked where it was supposed to be, and Rob was torquing the stuff down.
Yep.
And we got it torqued to where everything was finally where it should be. And we're like, all right, plop them on. So I used the word torque loosely.
He tightened them.
Yeah. So after
not torqued them, tightened and torque are two different things.
After a little bit of riding, and again, it's a very vibey bike, it must have backed out those bolts.
So he didn't use Loctite then?
No.
I got to give him some kind of. He's as far as I know, he's not a big Loctite guy. I am becoming more and more a Loctite guy the more that I ride motorcycles.
These things, they just vibrate so much. These V-twins.
Oh, they do. And I love V-twins. See, I'm a child of V-twin. Something about a V-twin. I understand that V4s and flat sixes and inline fours and all these motors are great and everything.
But they don't belong on cruisers.
On a cruiser, you want a V-twin, which
really is something. But, like, I tell you, like, on these other bikes, I love these other engine platforms. Like, I like experimenting with the different engine power deliveries and stuff like that.
But if you're gonna have a cruiser and you want to feel like you're riding a motorcycle, the V-twin is the most feel you're gonna get. And that's just my opinion, not the V4. And I've ridden V4s, I've ridden flat sixes.
That's because what you grew up on. That's the first thing that you experienced was this.
I know, and I recognize my bias.
Obviously, there's implicit bias there.
Yeah, but I can't get rid of that. I really can't. Like, it's going to be there, and the more I learn about them too, and I'm like, okay, the thing is, I understand. The flat six is better. V4 is better. Inline fours, better. Everything is better than the V-twin. But I like the V-twin. I don't know what it is. I guess there's a great video online about it, the feel, the sound, everything, the design, everything. I just enjoy more. The theater. I'll just call it the theater. The theater of the V-twin. I just love.
Yeah, no, fair enough. I can't. You
can't argue with feeling.
I can't argue with the feeling, but I will say, like, with my Valkyrie with the flat six, I love the feeling and the sound of it.
Oh yeah.
Like, it's not your dad's Goldwing.
No.
Like, I love hearing the whistle of the supercharger at 3,000 RPM.
Unless your dad's Goldwing scares the shit out of you a little bit.
Yeah, I love its open pipes sounding like a Ferrari when I crack the throttle, and all that stuff like that. Like, riding that thing on, like, big long sweeping curves, like at 140 kilometers an hour, when it's just sitting right at the top of the power band, like not the top, like right at the entry point of the power band.
Yeah.
So you can just tip it in a little bit more and squeeze the throttle a little bit more, and it just, like, I like to feel that it's like riding the Suzuki. To get power out of it, you're using the throttle like a shotgun. Like, I'm like, shift,
bam,
wind,
like
bam,
just pull it.
Hit that throttle like you're, like, with a shotgun, you slap the trigger, right?
Yeah.
You don't squeeze it like a rifle. And the Valkyrie, if you try and do that, if you try and do that, like that slap with it, it just doesn't work right. So you just squeeze the throttle,
you motion it
like you're squeezing the trigger for a rifle, and it just winds up, and then it just goes, like, getting the feel of it down. It's like, it's a whole different but equal to.
I think that is the best explanation I've ever heard put into it. Is the difference between a shotgun and a rifle?
Yeah.
That really is. Wow, you just made I think everyone understands. Well, if you know guns,
yeah. So if
you understand it perfectly.
If you try and shoot a rifle like a shotgun,
your shot's going off.
You're not gonna have a good time. You're not gonna have the results you want. It's not gonna.
Yeah, your precision is not there. where
And you try and use a shotgun like a rifle, and again, it's just off. It's not what it's designed to do.
no,
You're gonna miss your shot. You miss your chance. The bird's gone.
because of your lag, right? You're That is a great, good one. I like that. Let's continue to use that.
Yeah.
Really
Anyway, so my bars rattled apart while I was riding
His bars be fucked.
But luckily that bolt that was backing out was inside the clamp, so that like the top clamp and the bar held it from going out any further than it was. So my bars were just going to come off. They were just sloppy as all get out.
Yeah.
Took the bars off, tightened them down. Problem went away, and then I was able to ride it like an idiot again.
Nice. I'm glad to hear it. Sounds like you had a good trip.
It was best vacation I've had in a long ass time.
Oh yeah. I can only imagine. As you all know, I got to record with Travis, and I'm glad. Oh, I don't know. I love Travis, and so, bro love, no homo.
No homo.
I love Travis, and I was glad that we were able to record something that we could release, because I'm like, man, I do want to have him on. I do want to hang out with him. But the first time we had him on, we got a little west. We all got a little Western. We forgot that we were recording, and we're like eating pizza and wings. You're not supposed to eat on a podcast. Like the fact that we drink, almost it does cross a certain level of professional line. No,
but
this
was just a whole nother level.
We should get wings.
And,
hey.
and with Travis, like he's got so much history and backstory there that you got to be really careful about it. Just,
do you want to go to prison?
What's the statute of limitations on this? I don't know.
So, with that being said, I'm glad I got to record with him. I've been working while
I listened to it. I listened to it today. I was like, oh man, I get to listen to my own podcast without knowing what I'm going to hear.
Do you ever get resentful that every single time you're not on, I point out that I'm better than you?
Oh no. I trust that our listenership is insightful and intelligent enough to know that is just you projecting your weakness.
I'll take it. I'll fucking take it. I'm fine with that. So I got to do that while you were gone.
I enjoyed listening to it. I was like, this is a conversation I'm actually glad I wasn't there for, just so Mike could just cut loose and talk fighting with Travis without me, the unknowing plebe, being like, yeah, that's right.
You're right. They should do weigh-ins. I don't like them.
I like watching UFC.
Like them. It was a lot of fun, and hopefully this weekend we have time. I really do want to record after. I've got a martial arts tournament. When this gets released, it'll be already done. But we're hoping to record shortly after.
I want your fresh thoughts on what it is getting back into competition, like right after.
I got so many thoughts now.
I want there to either be like the high of glory, or like the crushing like ego death of disaster. I wanted to sense it. I want to taste.
I have thoughts right now, but we don't have time. We do have time, but I think this one has run its course.
I just want to say to all y'all out there, do a fucking road trip.
Yeah.
Like, take some time to go somewhere and do some kitschy shit. You'll have fun.
They're always fun. That's the thing. People always forget. So, where are we at? Oh, we're at 108.
All right, that's good. That's our normal time.
That is our normal time, and we got to record another one here, hopefully.
Bing, bang, boom.
And, I'm going to let you just put it out because you're back, brother. I'm happy to have you back.
I am. God bless, and do not be a dickhole.
Music has been brought to us by Kirk the Riffer Wells at Liquid State Audio. He is a guitarist, producer, and mixing engineer. Thank you from the Blue Collar Philosophers.